Originally, the number of the engineers were actually saying this is more like a 4-year, 5-year project. We've said, obviously, as an absolute stopgap, we have to make it a 3-year. If we can compact it even more, we obviously will. But it's a complicated piece of engineering. I mean, there aren't many places where you have a rail, track, if you like, walkway, the road, obviously new roundabouts and so forth, as well as linking in with the current walkway on the prom.
And £21 million, is that the figure which prevails?
That's the figure that's the approval that we have, and that's the figure that has to prevail.
Okie dokie. A few listeners have been in touch with a few questions, as there will be no parking on the promenade for at least 3 years. Is that true?
Well, there'll be no, that won't be completely true. Obviously, the detail will come into that. I think we need to be flexible. We need to look at Christmas. We use the walkway. Is that an option that we've got? We've also got the Summerland site. Could that hold some temporary parking? There will be obviously some loss of parking during the works, but remember, it will be in stages. One of the key things I think that we will try and insist on, is the two-way traffic. I think that's the message we're getting from traders and so forth. But obviously, how we fit the works and which bit's done first, that still has to be decided.
Well, some parking concerns among Keith and Pauline have both been in touch. Keith asks what's been done to protect traders down there on the southern end of the promenade. Pauline asks, is it time to review things like multi-storey car park provision?
Well, you see, this is a bigger picture. During the works, as I say, we'll obviously look to try and provide temporary parking. Longer term, there are sites that we are still looking at and work ongoing. You know, we have the Lord Street development, things like that could play a part in the bigger picture in terms of parking, and of course existing sites at Chester Street and Drummond.
Well, some comments negative, which I don't know what sort of a feeling they give you. Someone's texted in calling this a vanity project, a disgraceful waste of money in the current climate. Stop this extravagance. Would you agree with that?
No, I completely disagree, because at the end of the day, we've been talking about since 2000. It is the busiest road by far, the most arterial route. It is the icon for the island. It's been talked about, as I say, for since the year 2000. It's fundamentally an engineering project. The actual, if you like, the design work as a cost part for the southern end is relatively small in terms of the overall construct. We've also continually wasted money because we continually have changed our mind in the past. We've gone from one design to another design. There's a lot of other pieces of work, the water mains, the MUA work, the electrics, they've all been holding off, waiting for the prom to happen. Douglas Council, for example, have a lighting scheme that's been waiting to go for years now. Again, every time you delay, that actually just racks up the costs. There is now time to grasp the nettle.
Well, given all that, could it have been done more cleanly, more simply, more cheaply?
I think if in the year 2000 it said, right, we're going to do it and this is what we're going to do, and the design stayed, obviously that would be the best scenario. But at some point you've got to actually crack on. What needs to be remembered is it's a complicated piece of road. As I say, it's not just a road. You've got cyclists, walkers, you've got the horse trams, you've got the tracks, you've got obviously two big junctions around the whole Sefton Gaiety. And I think what will be presented at the end, with the way it will integrate with the regeneration work in Castletree, you'll have a fantastic gateway, a whole seamless transition all the way from the Gaiety all the way through Strand Street into the harbour. It will actually, it's a boost of confidence in Douglas and into the Isle of Man.
Well, just to borrow words from your predecessor Phil Gaughan, who used to always say you can't please everyone. That's true, isn't it still?
I think you can get the concept of a design is that you can meet as many of those design criteria as possible. And I think when we've talked to disability groups and from the sort of blind welfare and those types of groups, you can actually meet, and horse trams. I think we've got a design that actually does tick largely most of the boxes. I don't think you'll ever have, obviously there's compromise. You're going to have to, for example, because you've got bigger bus lay-bys and so forth, you're going to lose some parking. There's never a solution where there isn't a compromise.
Well, Mr. Harmer, we are running short of time. Thanks for joining us this morning. I will just leave you with one thing, a matter of practicality. With traffic lights being removed on the promenade, says one of our listeners. How are people expected to cross the busy road?
Well, again, what you'll replace those with zebra crossings, and what happens there, you'll actually get a better flow of traffic. It's the same with the roundabouts. If you notice at the moment, you get a stop start. You'll actually increase the capacity, and that is one of the key bits about the prom design. They'll actually increase the amount of capacity, the amount of cars, and the speed that they go through the prom. So there's essentially a number of other benefits as well.
Well, Mr. Harmer, good luck with the planning application. You may well need it. Thanks
you
very much for joining us.